Hello everyone and welcome back. So, it's the last chapter finally. So we are finishing Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters. We are on chapter 20, the last chapter, and I couldn't wait. This has to be my second favorite chapter. After the 14th, I think it was, where Percy with the sirens and all. I already explained why when I read it. Anyways, so let's dive right back into the last chapter of the book. So get anything you need, get comfortable, get anything you need, water, food, drinks, whatever. If you're doing something while listening, good luck, and we are diving right back into chapter 20. The fleece works its magic too well. That afternoon was one of the happiest I'd ever spent at camp, which maybe goes to show you never know when your world's about to be rocked to pieces. Grover announced that he'd be able to spend the rest of the summer with us before resuming his quest for Pan. His bosses at the Council of the Coven Elder were so impressed that he hadn't gotten himself killed and had cleared the way for the future searchers that they granted him a 2-month furlough and a new set of raid pipes. And the only bad news, Grover, instead of playing those pipes all afternoon long, Grover insisted on playing those pipes all afternoon long, and his musical skills hadn't improved much. He played YMCA, and the strawberry plants started going crazy, wrapping around our feet like they were trying to strangle us. I guess I couldn't blame them. Grover told me he could dissolve the empathy link between us now that we were face to face. But told me I just as soon keep it if that was okay with him. He put down his reed pipes and stared at me. But if I get in trouble again, you'll be in danger, Percy. You could die. If you get in trouble again, I want to know about it, and I'll come to help you again, G-Man. It wouldn't have been any other way. In the end, we agreed not to break the link. He went back to playing YMCA for the strawberry plants. I didn't need an empathy link with the plants to know how they felt about it. Later on, during archery class, Karen pulled me aside and told me he'd fixed my problem with Meriwether Prep. The school no longer blamed me for destroying their gymnasium. The police were no longer looking for me. How did you manage that? I asked. Karen's eyes twinkled. I merely suggested that the mortals had seen something different on that day. A furnace explosion that was not your fault. You just said that and they bought it. I manipulated the mist. Someday, when you're ready, I'll show you how it's done. You mean it can go back to Meriwether next year? Chiron raised his eyebrow. Oh no, they still expelled you. Your headmaster, Mr. Bonsai, said you had how did you put it? Ungroovy karma that disturbed the school education aura. But you're not in legal trouble, which was a relief to your mother. When speaking of your mother, he unclapped his cell phone from his quiver and handed it to me. It's high time you called her. The worst part was the beginning. The Percy Jackson, what were you thinking? Do you have any idea how worried I was sneaking off to camp without permission, going on a dangerous quest, and scaring me to half to death? Part. But finally she paused to catch her breath. Oh, I'm just glad you're safe. That's the great thing about my mom. She's not good at staying angry. She tries, but it just isn't in her nature. I'm sorry, Mom, I told her. I won't scare you again. Don't promise me that, Percy. You know very well it'll only get worse. She tried to sound casual about it, but I could tell she was pretty shaken up. I wanted to say something to make her feel better, but I knew she was right. Being a half-blood, I would always be doing things that scared her, and as I got older, the dangers would just get greater. I could come home for a while, I offered. No, stay at camp. Train. Do what you need to do, but you will come home for the next school year. Yeah, of course. Is there any school that will take me? Oh, we'll find something, dear, my mother sighed. Some place where they don't know us yet. As for Tyson, the campers treated him like a hero. I would have been happy to have him as my cabin mate forever, but that evening, as we were sitting on a sand dune overlooking the Long Island Sound. He made an announcement that completely took me by surprise. "Dream came from Daddy last night," he said. "He wants me to visit." I wondered if he was kidding, but Tyson really didn't know how to kid. "Poseidon send you a dream message?" Tyson nodded. "Wants me to go underwater for the rest of the summer. Learn to work at Cyclopses forges. He called it an internship. Yes." I let that sink in. I'll admit, I felt a little jealous. Poseidon had never invited me underwater, but then I thought, Tyson was going? Just like that? "When would you leave?" I asked. "Now." "Now? Like, now? Now?" "Now." I stared at the waves and Long Island Sound. The water was glistening red in the sunset. "I'm happy for you, big guy," I managed. "Seriously." "Hard to leave my new brother," he said with a tremble in his voice. "But I want to make things, weapons for the camp. You will need them." Unfortunately, I knew he was right. The fleas hadn't solved all the camp's problems. Luke was still out there, gathering an army aboard the Princess Andromeda. Kronos was still reforming in his golden coffin. Eventually, he would have to fight them. "You made the best weapons ever," I told Tyson. I held up my watch proudly. "I bet they'll tell a good time, too." Tyson sniffed. "Brothers help each other." "You're my brother," I said. "No doubt about it." He patted me on the back so hard he almost knocked me down the sand dune. Then he wiped a tear from his cheek and stood to go. "Use the shield well." "I will be, Guy." "Save your life someday." The way he said it, so matter of fact, I wondered if that Cyclops eye of his could see into the future. He headed down the beach and whistled. Rainbow, the hippocampus, burst out of the waves. I watched the two of them ride off together into the realm of Poseidon. Once they were gone, I looked down at my new wristwatch. I pressed the button, and the shield spiraled out to full size. Hammered into the bronze were pictures in ancient Greek style, scenes from our adventures this summer. There was Annabeth slaying the Lysodronian dodgeball player, me fighting the bronze bulls on Applet Hill, Tyson riding Rainbow towards the Princess Andromeda, the CSS Brigham blasting into cannons at Charybdis. I ran my hands across the picture of Tyson battling the Hydra, as he held aloft a box of monster donuts. I couldn't help feeling sad. I knew Tyson would have an awesome time under the sea. But I missed everything about him. His fascination with horses, the way he could fix chariots or crumple metal with his bare hands, or tie bad guys into knots. I'd even miss his snoring like an earthquake in the next bunkle night. "Hey, Percy." I turned. Annabeth and Grover were standing at the top of the sand dune. I guess maybe I had some sand in my eyes because I was blinking a lot. "Tyson," I said. "He had to, we know," Annabeth said softly. "Karen told us." "Cyclops forges." Cyclops shuddered. "I heard the cafeteria food there is terrible. Like no enchiladas at all." Annabeth held out her hand. "Come on, seaweed brain. Time for dinner." We walked back toward the dining pavilion together, just the three of us, like old times. A storm raged that night, but it parted around Camp Half-Blood as storm usually did. Lightning flashed against the horizon, waves pounded the shore, but not a drop fell in our valley. We were protected again thanks to the fleece, sealed inside our magical borders. Still, my dreams were restless. I heard Kronos taunting me from the depths of Tartarus. Polyphemus sits what the I'm so sorry. "Polyphemus sits blindly in his cave, young hero, believing he has won a great victory. Are you any less dull-hearted?" The Titan's cold laughter filled the darkness. Then my dream changed. I was following Tyson to the bottom of the sea in the court of Poseidon. It was a radiant hall full of blue light, the floor covered with pearls, and there, on the throne of coral, sat my father, dressed like a simple fisherman in khaki shorts and a sun-bleached t-shirt. I looked up into his tanned, weathered face, his deep green eyes, and he spoke 2 words. Brace yourself. I woke with a start. There was a banging on the door. Grover flew inside without waiting for permission. Percy, he stammered. Annabeth, on the hill. The look in his eyes told me something was terribly wrong. Annabeth had been on guard duty that night, protecting the fleece. If something had happened, I ripped off the cover, my blood like ice water in my veins. I found some clothes while Grover tried to make a complete sentence. But he was too stunned, too out of breath. She's lying there. Just lying there. I ran outside and raced across the central yard. Grover right behind me. Dawn was just breaking. The whole camp seemed to be stirring. Morale was spreading. Something huge had happened. A few campers were already making their way towards the hill. Satyrs and nymphs and heroes in a weird mix of armor and pajamas. I heard a clop of horse hooves, and Chiron galloped up behind us, looking grim. Is it true? He asked Grover. Grover could only nod, his expression dazed. I tried to ask what was going on, but Tyson grabbed me by the arm and effortlessly lifted me on his back. Together we thundered up Halfwood Hill, where a small crowd had started to gather. I expected to see the fleece missing from the pine tree, but it was still there, glittering in the first lights of dawn. The storm had broken and the sky was blood red. Curse the Titan Lord, Chiron said. He tricked us again, giving himself another chance to control the prophecy. What do you mean? I asked. The fleece, he said. The fleece did its work too well. We galloped forward, everyone moving out of our way. There, at the base of the tree, a girl was lying unconscious. Another girl in Greek armor was kneeling next to her. Blood roared in my ears. I couldn't think straight. Annabeth had been attacked, but why was the fleece still here? The tree itself looked perfectly fine, whole and healthy, suffused with the essence of the golden fleece. It healed the tree, Chiron said, his voice ragged, and poison was not the only thing it purged. Then I realized Annabeth wasn't the one lying on the ground. She was the one in armor, kneeling next to the unconscious girl. When Annabeth saw us, she ran to Chiron. She just suddenly there! Her eyes were streaming with tears, but I still didn't understand. I was too freaked out to make sense of it all. I leaped off Chiron's back and ran towards the unconscious girl. Chiron said, Percy, wait! I knelt by her side. She had short black hair and freckles across her nose. She was built like a long-distance runner, lithe and strong, and she wore clothes that were somewhere between punk and goth. A black t-shirt with black tattered jeans, and a leather jacket with badges from a bunch of bands I'd never heard of. She wasn't a camper. I didn't recognize her from any of the cabins, and yet I had the strangest feeling I'd seen her before. It's true, Grover said, panting from his run up the hill. I can't believe it. Nobody else came close to the girl. I put my hand on her forehead. Her skin was cold, but my fingerprints tingled as if they were burning. She needs nectar and ambrosia, I said. She's clearly a half-blood, whether she was a camper or not. I could sense that just from one touch. I didn't understand why everybody was acting so scared. I took her by the shoulders and lifted her into a sitting position, resting her head on my shoulder. Come on! I yelled at the others. What's wrong with you people? Let's get her to the big house. No one moved, not even Chiron. They were all too stunned. Then the girl took a shaky breath. She coughed and opened her eyes. Her irises were starting blue, electric blue. The girl stared at me in bewilderment, shivering and wild-eyed. I'm Percy, I said. You're safe now. Strangest dream. It's okay. Dying. No, I assured her. You're okay. What's your name? That's when I knew, even before she said it. The girl's blue eyes stared into mine, and I understood what the Golden Fleece quest had been about. The poisoning of the tree. Everything. Kronos had done it done it to bring another chess piece into the play, another chance to control the prophecy. Even Chiron, Annabeth, and Grover, who should have been celebrating this moment, were too shocked, thinking about what it might mean for the future, and I was holding someone who was destined to be my best friend, or possibly my worst enemy. Athalia, the girl said, daughter of Zeus. And that is it for chapter 20 and the last chapter of this book. So we just finished the Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters book. That's what I meant about the surprise. So we've heard so many stories about Thalia, right? And this whole quest circled around Thalia and her pine tree. When I read it first, I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, no, something has to happen with Thalia's tree. Like, Riordan couldn't have just put it there. I knew something had to happen, but I didn't know what. So now you know what happens. So she's here, she's alive, and that's so nice. Shoot. Sorry. And yeah, that's so nice. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!